The alleged shooter in the deadly attack on a Pittsburgh synagogue posted the vile anti-Semitic views on social media from the man who did the shooting, but not a service you've likely heard of before. Gab.com was founded in 2016 by a man named Andrew Torba, a programmer who felt that Silicon Valley's social media companies were censoring conservative voices. A post announcing Gab's launch claimed that free speech and free thought are under attack, blaming political correctness as, quote, cancer on discourse and culture. Gab quickly attracted alt-right and white nationalist figures who were banned from Twitter for harassment. People like conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, former Breitbart writer Milo Yiannopoulos, neo-Nazi publication founder Andrew Anglin, and white nationalist Richard Spencer, along with people like the alleged shooter who harbor extremist views. After the shooting, the platform suspended the shooter's account and said, quote, unequivocally disavows and condemns all acts of terrorism and violence. But the site is now offline. It was dropped by several key services over the weekend, including its domain registrar, GoDaddy, and payment processing services, Stripe and PayPal, which facilitate payments from pro-membership users. But it promises to return, leveling charges of smear and censorship.
All right, well, let's dig into this a little bit more. Joining us now, NBC News reporter Ben Collins and former FBI special agent with the Joint Terrorism Task Force, Clint Watts, both of whom specialize in hate speech and things that go on the internet. Ben, let's start with you. Is there anything that this assassin wrote on Gab or posted on Gab that would have gotten him into trouble with Facebook or Twitter or more mainstream?
I would say most things. For example, like right before he went in, he said, "I screwed the optics. I'm going in." Right?
Yeah.
And it was after days of posting anti-Semitic nonsense. Specifically, there was one conspiracy theory that he had tied every right-wing talking point together into an anti-Semitic thing. What he did was he took this picture of a van that was in the migrant caravan that you hear a lot about on Fox News and had a Star of David on it. And he said, "Where is this coming from?" Over and over again, he kept posting this image. He kept saying, "Where does this come from? Where does this money come from? Why are we
implying
putting up with
that
this?"
Jews were bringing the caravan?
Exactly.
In
And
like
I think the most important part that you hear about this, a lot of people are saying this guy was anti-Trump. He was anti-Trump because he didn't take action on violent action on a lot of these talking points that he talked about. So, like, he thought that this was an invasion by some sort of Jewish-backed group coming through the Mexican border. And he said, we can't stand for this anymore. We have to take some violent action on it.
Clint, where's law enforcement here?
Yeah, so this actually becomes harder in some ways when Facebook and Twitter, these mainstream platforms, we saw this in international counterterrorism as well. You push them off the large platforms, they're always going to look, they've already connected now, they're now going to reconnect somewhere on a darker platform, either one that's closed, like an internet forum, that's hard to see, or they're going to go to a place like Gab where they'll just let anything sort of go and you have anonymity, encryption, and you can evade law enforcement. So ultimately, it comes down to human intelligence, actually, which is how do you develop sources and assets? How do you develop ways to actually go into these groups and see what's going?
Then I have a dumb question.
That's the opposite of the way people traditionally think of going in terms of technical monitoring.
My question maybe is to you then. Then why would GoDaddy, right, a public company, a company that loads of people invest in, why would they ever support a platform like that? Why would Stripe?
Well, so Ben, this is a good question because you are always you're in and out of these sites all the time. They don't exist without some mainstream support, whether it's companies that take their payments or host their domains. How does that all get adjudicated?
The public face of this is, especially from Andrew Torba, who's the CEO of Gab, is that we're a place for all speech. We're not a place for Nazi speech necessarily. We're a place for all speech. But really, and they court this on their Twitter account too. They say, if you've been banned from these platforms, please come here. So,
but if you've been banned from these platforms,
it's for a reason.
Doesn't that mean you up to something?
Yes, that is exactly right.
You can always see this because you'll see these platforms like this one. It got up to, I think, about 800,000 users in just a couple of years.
Wow.
Whenever they grow that quickly, why are people going there? It could be a certain feature. So think back to Snapchat. There's certain features there that are unique and young people went to.
Right.
That's not the case with this, right? Why do you go to these platforms? You're going there.
You can say things.
You can say what you want.
Yeah.
You can maybe hide who you are. You can maybe connect with other people that think like you do. And you have key figures, which you guys laid out 4 key people right there of the alt-right movement that are moving and telling their followers to go to that platform. So if you're like GoDaddy or any of these payment processors and you see those 4 individuals say, everybody
That's
show
my
up at
issue
Gab,
here.
you better, I would, as a company, want to know for my brand protection, hey, these 4 guys who are key divisive figures have now all said go to this platform. I want to know about it because is it being hosted on my
So there's a piece of me that says maybe they shouldn't be banned from platforms because we can figure out who they are. I mean, this is not about regulating social media. That's a different discussion. But are there not some combination of human intelligence and algorithms that say, oh, okay, this person, and we could be talking about the bomber from last week, or we can be talking about the shooter, has a history of posting things that are hateful, potentially dangerous, and then it triggers some conversation like I'm going in or whatever the case is. Are we in 2018? Should we be able to determine that and say, uh-oh, something bad's going to happen?
For extremist groups, I mean, for years, like a decade now, we just sit and watch the extremist group as they're starting to get pulled off of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is. They'll say, go to the following application, and then we just go there. You just have to be looking at what those groups are doing, and then you move to that area and try and figure out what's going on.
All right, so now that the site has lost what's known as its registrar and hosting service, what happens next? I mean, to me, next time there's an earnings call for any of these big platforms, I want to know if Wall Street analysts are asking.
But they're going to come back somewhere, right?
Yeah, it can and it will come back.
And who will finance it?
That's a better question. Clint probably knows better about
So
that.
there's a couple ways to look at this now. If you've heard some of the conversations, Steve Bannon, for example, said, hey, we need to nationalize the big social media. This is to drive people towards apps which they control. Move them to closed platforms where they can actually control the discussion and let these discussions.
I don't know what that means.
Saying it's the balkanization of the internet, which is there is no one common place for it to come together anymore.
Don't go Facebook.
For whatever interest it is. I'm not saying Steve Bannon supports this group or another.
Saying get deeper
he's just
into
saying
the echo chamber.
Move people out off these mainstream platforms and move them to places where you could have a conservative or liberal app or an extremist or a counter-extremist app or whatever it might be, whatever your ideology is, you can move to that place and have your own discussion away from the administrative state. And
so the danger here, Ben and Stephanie, is that this isn't a group of people who drive Camaros. Right? These are not interest groups and clubs. If you keep doing this, you do, as you said, you drive them further and further into the echo chamber.
Right. So it's a good thing and a bad thing in that way, right? The diaspora is limited in that way. You reach fewer people who could be radicalized. But once they're in that space and they're harder to control and there's less sunlight on it, you don't know what they're up to, and they could just, on Facebook, it's much harder for people. It's much harder
to
for people
get
to say,
that
like,
radical.
Right. Say like, oh, you should go shoot up a synagogue. If they're in a small message board, which a lot of these people are, they're going to play there's another website called Discord where all this stuff is hidden. You can just say that stuff because nobody's monitoring it. So it's, again, you're in a catch-22 here. Do you want to catch these people and, make sure they're not radicalized? But to do that, you have to have larger platforms.
The key is to recruit in the open in the future through key mouthpieces and then direct them to these closed forums where you can really saturate them with whatever the ideology is, whatever the orientation is. But you harden their bubble so that they're only getting information that you agree with. You're blocking out all refutations about a caravan or whatever it might be. And you can really harden their views about their identity. It's about digital identity.
You have to treat it like extremism.
Yeah.
But just because it's on the internet, just because it's on a message board, doesn't mean it's any less free.
Any less. And any less harmful and any less dangerous. And I think that's the thing we're learning. Thanks to both of you. Appreciate it. Ben Collins and Clint Watts.
Extremism has many, many faces. You have to acknowledge that.
I'm a little scared after that conversation. I mean, I'd like to be hopeful. I was such an early adopter of social media because I thought this is great. We're going to be able to get everybody's views. The dialogue's going to be terrific. The discussion's going to be terrific. And falsehoods will be eliminated because it's the internet. Everybody will correct you. No, I was a little bit wrong.
Then, Ali, maybe the answer is that we have to love more. Because if you believe that everyone starts off good, we need to get those people out of the echo chambers and out of the halls of misinformation.
Well, you and I are both in the business of dialogue.
Everyone wants to lead their best lives.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.